Probably have watched many defending tutorials, but this one is going to be different. Now, why do I say so, guys? Because there is a lot of information regarding how to defend on YouTube. It is confusing and it is mostly repetitive, where people, including myself, tell you that, okay, just keep a straight back line, just right stick switch, and just do this, do that, and you will be able to defend. But yet, when I coach people, since I coach a lot of students, there are so many common mistakes that I see occurring in every other person's game. Literally, it feels like everyone is making similar mistakes. So, how do you actually fix them? And what are the tools needed to master defending once and for all? This is the mechanical part. L2, R2, X, R1, circle. These are the buttons we need. However, before I tell you more about mechanics, it is important to understand. Yes, understanding is the key word, that what happens when we are defending and how to actually get that perfect defense. Your first priority should always be to mark the most dangerous play. That could be the pass into the striker or a simple run down the wing in this situation. And what am I specifically looking at? Like I said, the attacking options that are available. So I am marking R9 with Lucio. Mia Hamm is being tracked by Maldini, while I second man press the ball carrier with Bellingham. It makes sure that I am also passive and aggressive. That is important. You have to be passive and you have to be aggressive. What happens basically is that we tell people you are going to defend with the CM and they just select the CM and run back with him. That is not how defending works. I know you're guilty of doing that. So in order to master passive aggressive defending, watch this video till the end. So what ends up happening? We bring numbers back. Defending in numbers is the key. Once you start thinking like this, that I have to defend in numbers rather than challenging and rushing for the ball, you will see that automatically your defense will start to get in more shape and you will have a better defensive shape. The key is to change the way you look at the game. Like Maldini said, if I have to make a tackle, I have already made a mistake. Now that we know, in order to build a strong defense, we have to follow this concept of always marking the most dangerous play. The most dangerous play could either be a pass forwards or a skill move that the opponent can do. You have to anticipate how will you do that by looking up and evaluating the options that opponent has available. Again, this will improve the more you practice. So whenever an opponent comes in your box, the first thing you have to do is switch up the mindset. Now he is in your box and you are on the receiving end. So what do you have to do? You have to change the way you look at the game. Now you have to be reactive. You have to let him make the first move and then make the move. Because if I step up and assume that he is going to take a shot right now, it is pretty easy for him to cut down on his left foot because he has a 5-star weak foot and shoot towards the near post. So I have to hold my ground, I have to be reactive and just wait for him to do his movement. We get the ball back, we get unlucky and we still concede, right? But we did what we had to do. That is why I say accepting that you are going to concede goals already helps you build a better defense. Why? It allows you to have more composure. We cannot control the bounces and rebounds in this game. So why not accept it and control what is in our hands, and that is to have a strong defense. So many players in this situation have already accepted that they are going to concede the goal. However, as long as the ball is in the play, you cannot give up. So what do we do? In such situations, you have to use emergency switching. So we use L1, it is set to closest to ball. Inside the box, the best way to switch is still the L1 button, and for most players out there, it is still the best, right? So we click L1 simply to get Theo Hernandez, and then we use L2 and R2 to step in front of Mia Hamm and stop a guaranteed goal. See, we step in front of her and we stop what was a guaranteed goal. The purpose of making you understand all these concepts is to help you decide in the game. Since this game is all about decision making and not many people talk about how you can improve your decision making. So if you follow what I am telling you, your decision making with practice is going to eventually improve. That will allow you to make better decisions in the defense, right? Like in this situation, you can see there are many runners and we have to track them. So we track them, keep a perfect back four, and then make the perfect switch. The following is a perfect example of defending in numbers and being reactive. Sometimes you have to accept that you're on the back foot, and once you are on the back foot, Panicking is the worst thing you can do. You have to be calm, you have to be composed. You can clearly see the buttons we use: second man pressing and jockey button. That allows us to be reactive and react to every possible skill move. I know so many people struggle to defend skill moves, and if you are one of those people, guys, the only way you can improve it is by being reactive inside the box. And you should know the exit direction of the skill moves. You should know where does the reverse elastico get exited. You should know the exit direction for reverse elastico, player nutmeg pass for the step overs, and for the McGiddy cancel. Step overs are usually straight, so if you play an opponent who is abusing step overs, you have to take a step back, because of course if you step up, you are giving him that opportunity to beat you with a body feint or a step over speed boost, right? You are not going to make the mistake I did with Theo Hernandez. You are going to slow down and wait for them to cut back and take a step back. You have to take a step back. Taking a step back is the key to defending against such players. But again, if you don't know where the skill move will be exited towards, then guys, of course, it will be hard for you to anticipate. And remember, do not forget your goalkeeper. It once again comes with the key aspect of anticipation. He gets the ball here. We do not give up. We move the goalkeeper towards the near post. If we shot at the other post, that is still a 50-50 chance. So we defend the goal. So in order to perfect your right stick switching, first we have to go in kickoff and connect two controllers. If you don't have two controllers, it is fine. You can just play against the beginner AI. Guys, now this is what you have to focus on. Our right stick switching reference is set to player relative and the sensitivity is 3 closest to ball. Alright, you can tweak the sensitivity to your own preference. I use 3. Now why is this so important, guys? Because I see people flicking the right stick randomly. I have seen it firsthand since, like I said, I coach a lot of people, right? So in this situation, if we had to go to Rice, we have to take in consideration that the reference point is the player. And which player have I currently selected? It is Martinelli. So if I want to select Rice, where do I go? I look at the positioning of Rice, then I flick my right stick in accordance to that direction. See, he's facing back and Martinelli is positioned like this. So if I were to flick the right stick like that, I would get Odegaard. I wouldn't get Rice. Although it seems logical to flick it that way because he is kind of standing over there, right? But instead, what do I have to do? I have to use Martinelli as the reference point. So I can see Rice is over there. I'm going to make a quick switch towards him, right? Like this. You see how quick that was? Because I know what I am doing. So we are on Martinelli. So if we flick down, we are going to select Jesus and then we will flick up and select Rice like that. How am I able to do that? It is once again practice, but also knowing that how right stick switching works. Let's say I want to go to Saka and then go to Martinelli. So currently I've selected Rice. So I will flick towards Saka, who is standing like this if we look at Rice. So that is the input I make. Now I have to look at Gabriel Martinelli, who's standing like this. So I have to flick it twice in that direction. And who do I get? I exactly get Gabriel Martinelli. I know it looks easy, but again, if you practice it this way and you get it down in your head and you practice it enough times, your switching is going to improve instantly. So for example, if I was to switch to Saka, by just doing that, it would take me such a long time to switch to him. Flicking the right stick towards where he is standing, but I am not taking into consideration the fact that I am on player relative, so that is going to determine my first right stick input. Let's quickly talk about the jockey button because I know there's a lot of confusion about it. I don't say that the gas and brake technique is better than the running jockey or another technique is better than another technique. Although let me warn you, people have invented some BS jockey techniques for the sake of views. So the only techniques you should be focusing on is again L2 R2 running jockey, L2 R2 gas and brake. So R2 is the gas, L2 is the brake. Look at this example. All right, we are using R1 plus L2. We need better control since the opponent is inside our box. I keep switching between L2 and R2. I'm using gas and brake as I need tight control. Obviously, if I hold down both triggers, it will take away from the control, but it will give me speed. But what is the priority right now? Do I need the pace or do I need the control? In this situation, close quarters, I need more control. So obviously, I'm going to focus on having more control over my defenders. The moment he comes close, I am once again using L2 and holding R1, right? Now I use L2 and R2 because I have to move faster inside the box, right? But the moment he gets closer to me, what do I use? I use L2 and stand in front of him. I'm also holding the second man press so I can actually apply some pressure, because again, I am in a situation where I have to be reactive. If I make the first move, there is a big chance that I might get beaten. So using time and bringing players back defending in numbers was the key, in combination with the gas and brake jockey technique, also while using the speed jockey where required. If I tell you one is better than the other, I am a fool, guys. Like I said, you have to analyze the situation. If you're defending 2 versus 1, obviously you need more control as well as you need pace, right? You're in an emergency situation, so you will hold down both triggers. That will allow you to move more fluidly. But let's say you're defending 1v1 against a good player who knows what he is doing. If you make one mistake in judgment, you are gone when you're using speed jockey. But if you use gas and brake, let's say I assume he's going to come down, I go down, but he goes up. I will let go of L2 and hold R2 again and get closer. It all comes down to one point: evaluating his options and knowing what he can do, and then using logic to determine the best trick in the situation. It also comes with practice, but the know-how is important, which I am giving you in this video. You might wonder why I don't talk about tackling, because that is the last thing I think about. Tackling is very important, right? We also know that power of tackles are a thing, where the more harder you press the circle button, the more aggressive your tackle will be. So if you press the circle button very hard, you will have a greater tackling reach, but again, there is a big chance that you might commit a foul. So with tackling, you always have to focus on ball contacts. If the ball is sticking to the opponent's feet and he is not using R2 and he's not doing a skill move, he is just moving, dribbling, guys, it is best that you hold L2 or L2R2, whatever is more appropriate in the situation, and mirror him. Because if you go for a tackle at that point, the risk versus reward is too high. We always have to evaluate in terms of percentages, right? So if the ball is in his feet, he is having a ball contact, it is not further away from his feet. So obviously, the chance of getting the ball back with the tackle is very slim. So I would rather wait for him to make a mistake. When the ball is further away from his feet, that is when I will press the circle button, and only in the emergency situations. I always gently tap the circle button, and I do not use the R1 circle hard tackle. It is not very beneficial. We'll see in this situation. It is about how we position ourselves in defense. We cover two things at one time and we always get the ball back. Not always, but most of the time. So the tackling button is your best friend only in certain situations. R1 double tap. Partial team press is a great feature which not many people use. So basically you can mark a lot of passes if you use this feature and use it correctly, right? See, I trigger it in this situation. So De Jong is out of the play. He cannot pass the ball to De Jong. I am covering Eusebio with Lucio. And I will just do it partially. As the name suggests, partial team press. You don't want to go crazy with this. Just use it partially to correctly position your players. And it will allow you to intercept so many more passes which you were not able to do before. But you have to once again see which players are partially team pressing. If they are your center back, please don't be so aggressive with them. Just put them in between the passing lanes and let it go. I know advanced defending is a very important topic this year, and I personally use advanced defending. It allows me to do a shoulder tackle. Some people say, but oh, we don't know how to do a shoulder tackle. Basically just press X. But again, it is not about the mechanics. It is about knowing when to press the button, right? So when you are 50-50 next to the player, that is when you press X. If you are chasing the player, he is running in behind, and you have a Van Dijk, you have a Theo Hernandez, that is when you press X. So you can potentially go with the shoulder tackle, right? So when do you use shoulder tackles? You use it when you are side by side. But again, it is all about logically understanding how and when to use which button and how to correctly make the right decisions. And how to make the right decisions, because you can find a ton of tutorials talking all about mechanics, but defending comes from here, and these are the tools. If you want to master defending, you want to master the mindset behind defending.